Hi everyone, welcome to the second webinar in our series with Milk Academy. I'm Felicity and I've got Alita down in Melbourne. Hey Alita.
Hey everybody, how you going?
And we're super excited to be here today for, as I mentioned, the second webinar in our marketing series with Milk Academy. This one is how to turn your customers into raving advocates with growth marketing.
So super exciting.
Just before we get started, I'll just run through some quick housekeeping. Now, for those of you who do make it with us right till the end, we have a very special bonus for you. And so that is a copy of Alita's very own ebook, Promotional Pudding, which is a set of 15 agency-designed campaign ideas that are designed to help you become the best growth marketer you can be. Alita, did you want to about pudding?
Yeah, sure. So we've actually got two things coming up, which is super exciting. The first one is promotional pudding will be sent to all of you who stay tuned in right to the end. Promotional pudding is, we put a lot of hard work into this book, and because we knew that one of the things that growing businesses was struggling with was these really big, expensive ideas that agencies are putting, that agencies will pitch for and charge a lot of money for. So what we did was we collaborated with a bunch of agencies and pulled together a whole bunch of creative campaigns, all designed for digital, all to help you with everything from your email marketing, from a creative perspective, right through to some SEO campaigns that you can run that'll help to support your search engine rankings. So really, really great book there, really easy to read. There's a whole bunch of tools mentioned in the book as well that'll help you to run these campaigns. There's even competitions that you can run in there. So there's heaps of really fun stuff, and each one of them are designed for growth marketing, which is even better. The second thing that we have coming up at the end is a really cool one. I want to ask each and every one of you out on a date. That sounds really fun and exciting. It's going to be a bit more of less wine, more creative thinking, and more strategy. So stay tuned for that one right at the end. We'll be unveiling what that one is at the end.
Yeah, I'm super excited to hear what that one is. Sounds juicy. So let's get these slides shared, and I'll tell you a little bit about who Alita and I are. Bear with me just one moment. So many of you might know me, I'm Felicity Miller. I'm the Neto content marketing specialist. So I take care of all of the blog, social media, emails. You've probably seen my name come through on a lot of those emails. And for those of you who don't know what Neto is, we are an all-in-one retail management platform. So we provide a complete solution for e-commerce, POS, inventory, and point of sale. And I'm super excited to be joined with Alita from Milk Academy. She is the managing director and a retail marketing expert. Alita, would you like to give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself?
Well, yeah. All right. Where do I start? I'll give you the short version. My name is Alita. I have been in digital marketing for about 14 years now, probably a little bit longer actually. And my curiosity in digital started when I was probably about 12 years old, and, trying to understand how the internet worked. At that point, it was, you typed in anything and anything came up. Through there, my career really evolved, working for really great global listed companies like SAP and Experian. From there, I was working on system and marketing automation systems, and really took what was a creative what was a creative side of mine and applied it with my analytical brain, which has led to me being a digital consumer marketing expert. And now today I run Milk It Academy, and Milk It Academy is really designed to help businesses to stop relying on the technology to help them to grow, but actually rely on their own minds and their own skills in order to develop growth marketing campaigns, and tying every single one of your campaigns to an ROI. Also making sure that you're armed with the right knowledge to make sure that your agencies or people that you do work with don't pull the wool over your eyes, so that you're well adversed and you're a digital expert as well. You're just relying on somebody else to farm out the work to, so that you can grow your business, work on your business instead of in it. So we work with corporate teams, and we also work with small to medium sized businesses who are hungry to grow. But I can tell you a little bit more about that in some more detail at another time, perhaps at the end of the call, or on the speed date. And yeah, I just really want to get into today's content and give you guys some insight into what growth marketing is, how you can apply it to your business, whether you've got the right skills to become a growth marketer, what skills you might need. And also I'll be revealing a couple of little tips and things that you can do along the way, and some campaign ideas, which is really fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alita. I'm sure that all of that knowledge and experience is going to come through today for all of our webinar attendees.
Definitely.
So for the webinar today, we're going to go through what exactly is a growth marketer, and how thinking like a growth marketer will help you achieve breakthrough sales. And as Alita mentioned, we're going to be giving you some tools and hacks for growth marketing to help you grow your businesses. So let's jump straight in, shall we?
Alrighty, a new breed of marketers. These growth marketers, you might have heard them mentioned. It's a pretty popular term now. We've been using it for quite some time. I'll explain to you exactly what they are, but bottom line is these guys are really difficult to get a hold of, and they're really highly sought after, and it's usually funded startups that grab them. But the problem is that everybody needs a growth marketer in their business, and every marketer, CEO, managing director, whatever it is the role in your business, if you're sitting here, there's a need for you in marketing right now. So thinking like a growth marketer is the thing that's going to take you from where you are today to where you can be tomorrow and beyond. Growth marketers find sustainable ways to run campaigns, and they find really fast ways to iterate them as well. But I might go into more detail on that in the next slide flick, if we can just push forward. All right, so could you in fact be a growth marketer? So a growth marketer really is a hybrid mix of skills. These guys are really skilled in product or developing new ideas around product that are going to be attractive for your market or help you to break into new markets. And they're going to do it in a way that's data-driven and a way that we can do it using sustainable marketing. Often we describe these guys as a Swiss Army knife of marketing, and they're really ready to utilize any of their skills at any different moment. They are really I like to call them, for lack of a better word, hustlers, hackers. These guys are trying to constantly think of solutions without having barriers. Growth marketers are 110% solution minded. Now, if you don't know what that is, please wait till the end and hook yourself up with a speak down, and I will talk to you about how to become solution minded and how to apply these mindsets to your business, but also how to apply them to creative growth strategies. They use data, and they experiment a lot. There's never one answer to a problem, and there's multiple ways that we can try to solve a problem. And growth marketers use data and design thinking, which I'll talk to you about in a moment. They use design thinking to pull together creative ideas whilst using the insight from your customers. Then they'll come up with a whole bunch of different ideas, refine those ideas, and then they'll test a whole bunch of them with micro budgets until they find the one that's scalable and sustainable for you to get the maximum growth from. And like I said, this is being used at the fastest growing startup, for the fastest growing startup. So companies like Spotify use growth marketers. They use design thinking in order to help you to grow sustainable marketing tactics from the ground up without wasting any money. So, Flick, if we can go on to the next slide. Awesome. So, why does every business need a growth marketer? I think I kind of covered that, but I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. So, they don't expend on unnecessary resources. So, they aren't finding a problem in the technology that they've got and asking for a whole bunch of funding to buy another technology stack. So, one of the most common things I see at a corporate level is that people are always wanting to buy brand new technology. And whilst brand new technology can definitely help us to solve problems, it's not the only way to solve problems. So what I mean by that is in reference to into a marketing team that I'm thinking of right now is that they've re-platformed their CRM 3 times in a year, but they haven't actually been able to refine their leads. Their lead sources have actually, and their lead quality has actually gotten worse, but it's because they've been focusing on the wrong thing. Instead of utilizing the technology that they've got and getting the most out of that, they've just been blaming the technology for any problems, and they've just been buying new technology, trying to create a band-aid, when actually the problem is within the creativity within this team. So one of the things that we're working on is how do we unpack creative ideas, move over problems to try and find quick win growth so that we can test it, scale it, and then once we know that we've pushed our technology to the limit, we're then able to go and re-platform. So really laser focused and not using unnecessary resources. Again, so these guys create really sustainable projects. So they take a whole bunch of different theories and they test all of these different theories. They test the top theories that are aligned with customer values and customer needs. They find the one that's going to work the best, and then they execute the one that has performed the best under the micro-funding model. They execute campaigns that haven't been done over hundreds or thousands of times. So what I mean is, I think I used an example recently is that we saw this great campaign come out from Jeep. Oh, he bought a Jeep, which was a really, really fantastic campaign. And what a lot of marketers did is they saw that that really worked very well, and they started to replicate that campaign without using any other creativity. So what growth marketers do is they draw on a creative mindset as well to create scalable and sustainable ideas, ones that really smack you in the face and almost feel like, my goodness, it's like the brand just landed on my lap. That's the feeling. So modern growth marketers really go for a place of empathy. They go from a place of emotion, and they get you to stick to a brand like it's been a part of you forever. They are innovative and they're super efficient. So growth marketers work on 14-day sprints. They're iterating things on a 14-day cycle. Now, that might not sound like a lot of time, but in that time, if we've got enough data, we can pull some information together and we can start to push out some really great campaigns in an efficient and scalable way. The other one is that they define their purpose before they create. And I think that this one's probably the most important thing, is that they formulate these hypotheses. They formulate their hypothesis, and then they create multiple campaigns off the back of these, and then they test them under a micro budget and they roll them out. So they define what their goal is and they drive all of their creative ideas towards that. Again, these guys are multi-skilled. They are super talented digital marketers. They are a rare one to find. So that's why today I want to talk about how you can become a growth marketer in your own organization. Thanks, Blake. On to the next slide.
All right, so what is the difference between a growth marketer and a traditional marketer? So growth marketers start off with design thinking. These guys have a complete process behind the way that they're going to develop their campaigns, and I'm going to share with you what design thinking looks like in a minute. They test. They have, I've mentioned it before, they've got tests along the way. A traditional marketer tends to kind of, which way is the wind facing today? I think that this is going to be the results. Growth marketers know their numbers and they can build business cases and they can drive towards those goals. They are absolute champions of quick wins. They understand where the gaps might be in business processes or marketing processes to get really, really quick wins. And what I mean by sprints is that they can execute these quick win campaigns really, really quickly and come up with a whole bunch of innovative ideas, then start implementing and testing those. They, as opposed to long-winded campaigns that are going to, that take a 3 months to run. You might have a 3-month campaign cycle as a traditional marketer that doesn't really have stops and checks and measures along the way. I'm hoping that this one marketing message is going to get me the results that I want. Whereas growth marketer says, I've got 3 messages. I'm going to send traffic to each one of these, and I'm going to see which one gives me the best revenue and return on my investment, as opposed to what's going to give me the best click-through. Because sometimes, and this is true to a growth marketer, is a growth marketer is going to look at something and go, great, I've got the click-throughs and I've got this revenue. I might not have got greater click-throughs as I did on the previous campaign, but my revenue was greater from this particular marketing message. Whereas a traditional marketer is going to go, I got really great click-throughs, or I got really great impressions. For a growth marketer, they are useless statistics. We're looking for the revenue and what drove that. They run really lean campaigns. So what I was saying before was about running those lean budgets across multiple tests, and they can be agile and move those budgets across different programs.
Yeah, so if something's not working, you just move on, you try something else. Whereas with the traditional ones, you're stuck. You're in there for 3 months and you're not figuring it out until the end.
Yeah, I'm going, oh, well, that didn't work, or it kind of did. It got us a lot of clicks. But what really happened with the revenue? We want to eliminate that, and growth market understanding and thinking like a growth marketing will take you there. They run scalable and sustainable projects. Everything they do can be washed, rinsed, repeated. They have a formula that they work towards, and they just interject new creativity along the way. So, where a traditional marketer is kind of looking at those temporary, the long-winded campaigns that are temporary. They've got like an influx of branding, and then they're looking at momentary results, and it's like, oh, I don't really know what worked. I think this kind of did. Let's try that again. Yeah. Things move and change, and growth marketers stay completely fluid in their market. So what happens when you think like a growth marketer? So these are some quick wins that we've applied for some clients just recently. So within 10 days, we had a 175% increase on abandoned cart. We looked at a couple of different things. So we looked at time on website, so the time that our purchases came through, and the time that this particular retailer was sending out their abandoned carts, and when an influx of conversions were happening at later points in the day. And we adjusted our abandoned cart to meet the customer's cycle, as opposed to what we thought might work because we read on a webinar, or we heard on a webinar, or we heard somewhere something that this is the timing that we should do. No, a growth marketer adjusts it based on your data. So we made some changes, and we had a 175% increase in abandoned carts, and that was sustained. The results were absolutely phenomenal, and those results were achieved in about 10 days. We also did some changes of the subject line, so timing subject line, and reduced language in the emails made a massive difference to what happened in the conversions from that abandoned cart. The next one that we did was, we had 10,000 new subscribers in 30 days, which was pretty good. I've got some other results, and I'm going to share with you that are even more impressive than that one. But I think we spent like $100 to grab that 10,000 new subscribers. If there's anybody on this webinar who doesn't want those results, please let me know. We'll find another way. So double the profit in 60 days. So that was looking at some super quick wins, went through a design thinking process, and provided some scalable projects, and this retailer today continues to grow and grow their profit. So we're not talking about just revenue growth, we're talking about profit growth.
And so what sort of things were you doing for that retailer that helped them to do that?
Yeah, so they were going out with campaigns that were just at one point of the customer's journey. They were spraying and praying. They were just firing campaigns out at anybody and, you know, had no rhyme or reason behind it. The other side of that was that they didn't have a method behind how they were marketing. So they were missing out really key elements in a marketing process. So they had a whole bunch of people at the acquisition phase who were acquiring all these new people or grabbing these new people's attention. We had no way to nurture them. There was no flow of the campaign to bring them down into actually buying. So what we did was we took their acquisition, we coupled it with a whole bunch of nurturing campaigns, and at the other side of it, we also put in some loyalty and referral campaigns. But it was all tied into the one beautiful campaign. It was a beautiful, fluid process. And as soon as that was implemented, because they had a new platform, they had a new strategy to roll with that was totally inclusive of the customer's cycle, they were able to get really great profit uplift. And we didn't spend any more than what they'd spent before, which was really good. So we did some rapid testing with a click-through rates on email, which was we did some testing with internal content within the email, and we did some testing from the subject line level. We really started to build subject lines based on who the person might be, as opposed to what we were trying to sell them. Every brand is different, though. You need to develop your own testing matrices so that you've got something sustainable. You have to, and this is the thing about growth marketers, you need to set your own best practice. You can read blogs, you can watch webinars, but you need to find your own best practice, and we can definitely help you to do that. And at the end, I hope that we'll be able to share some of that stuff with you. The result of getting 60% increase on clicks, remember I said that's not generally conducive of telling us whether that's going to be a profitable campaign. The result from that was 122% increase in conversions from email. This was 122% increase on sales from the email channel alone, just by looking into it. Huge.
Absolutely huge.
Huge. And that was all done in about 2 weeks. Why? We had a process, we had a template, and we had a testing mechanism. And the results were awesome. Happy to say that we're pretty happy. All right, so, it all starts with design thinking. Oh, look at this slide. It's gone a little bit squiff, but that's okay. So what happens is we set up an ideation, we set up a safe platform for you to, we've all heard people talking about it's okay to fail. And for growth marketers, that is ingrained in them. What happens if we fail? We have a solution, we can reiterate and we can go. So first things first, growth marketers, I've talked about understanding the heartbeat of the customers. So we empathize with them. We understand the challenges that they might have. We understand that we might have challenges with, some customers might have challenges with eyesight. We might have challenges with reading literacy. We might have some challenges with their location, their time, the time that they're going to be online, how they might want to receive their packages. What are the alternatives? How can we understand and immerse ourselves into these people's lives, our customers' lives, or a particular subset of our customers' lives, to understand what's going to make their heart beat? How can we help to solve problems? So we then we understand who this person is, then we define their problem. And then we rapidly fire coming up with ideas on how we can help to solve these. And no idea is a bad idea in this place. And it's usually when somebody says in the workshop environment that somebody sits there and goes, well, I don't know if this is right, and that's usually where the best ideas come from. So don't be afraid to put forward the most ridiculous idea, because at the end of the day, a growth marketer should be able to find you a solution or a hack to help you to meet that, if it really is going to be good. So then we prototype we take our ideas and we refine them down to our top 3, and then we prototype them. We create an environment to test. Then we go into testing, then we create an environment to test, and then we find out which one our winner is. Then we implement that as our sustainable project that's going to run. So we roll it out, we celebrate the wins, and that's how we create a growth marketing campaign. The heart of the customer, defining their problem, rapid fire ideation, coming up with as many ideas as you can possibly come up with to solve that problem, find our top 3, prototype them, test it, find our winner, implement it.
You make it all sound very easy, Alita.
Well, it's easy when you've got the process, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. And once you do this, you might have to do this 1, 2, 3 times to really get it ingrained and really understand it. But once you start running your campaigns like this, your customers will start to love you because they'll be like, you get me. You get me. You're speaking my language. Yeah. All right. So some growth marketing strategies to try this Easter. So we've got Easter coming up on the 1st of April, which is really interesting. I saw somebody post a meme the other day that said, for the first time, Easter falls on the 1st of April. Why don't you just tell your kids that you hid the eggs and then say, too bad, it's April Fools.
I think we're going to see a lot of things like that.
All right, so these are some campaigns that work really well. So there's a family campaign. I'm going to talk to you about getting laser focused on your targets and territories across channels, and then how do we actually run a collaboration campaign. Collaborative campaigns, when you're trying to grow your email list, work better than anything, and they run on a super nice lean budget.
And I'm very interested myself to hear all about this collaboration campaign.
Ooh,
Might be some things that I can implement too.
Awesome. All right, so first things first is we want to stay really laser focused on our high revenue territories. So what I mean by that is go into like your Google Analytics, go into your reporting suites. I know that Neto's just launched a really great new reporting suite. I had a look at it the other day. There's some really fun stuff for growth marketers on that one. I'm really excited to start playing around with that data.
Definitely.
So thank you for giving us a really cool tool. But in terms of high revenue territories, look at where most of your revenue is coming from and laser focus your budget down to these areas, or find people that you can collaborate with in these areas to help to expand your customer network into theirs. So we're kind of getting across now between the collaborative campaigns. I'm going to go into more detail about that, but also these high revenue territories. Why? Because you would be surprised if you start to see where a lot of your traffic and revenue comes from, and because sometimes it can come from the most unlikely places. Like we've got some of our retailers that get a lot of traffic that are really high spenders in the middle of Western Australia. Why? There's no stores there, but they still want nice things. They're working on the mines and things like that. So they've got a lot of disposable income, but they just can't get the stuff that they really want. So we see a lot of high revenue traffic come from these areas. So make sure that you jump into your Google Analytics and start to find your high value territories and start to adjust your budget into those areas. So that's one way that you can start to look at growth marketing. Become super collaborative. And what I mean by that is find a brand who is obviously not a competitor, and what you want to do is you want to approach them as a great partnership. So, for example, here's an example. So a bike retailer working with a 4x4, four-wheel drive retailer. It's like a match made in heaven. I need to go into the bush to talk about design thinking and understanding who your customers are. I drive a ute. I don't need to go into the bush to do, to throw myself down a mountain. And the results are unbelievable. So with this particular case study, there was 8,000 new subscribers in about 10 days. Huge. And it's just because they collaborated, they shared this data, the terms and conditions were right, but they found a retailer that wasn't in their competitive set, but in a complementary set. Find people who you can collaborate with. So, there's so many different ways that you can look at it. Are you a caravanning retailer, for example, and what are the other things that need to go that can help me on my caravanning journey? Is it, do we do a collaboration with people like Thermomix, or do we do a collaboration with homewares so that we can have a beautiful space inside? Yeah. There's all these different ways that we can look at it and do something really collaborative, become friends with people who are in a like-minded set. Yeah, it really, really works. This is by far a really cheap and great way to grow your database. Find your friends. All right, so we're talking about the post-purchase side of things. So we've talked about bringing a whole bunch of new people into our environment, and now we need to start thinking about how we might nurture them or how we might keep them as our friends post-purchase. So first one is, of course, maintain your email relationship and be really helpful. Remember what I said about the abandoned cart emails and changing those tiny little things by using design thinking, understanding who the customer was, what silent little footprints they were leaving in our data, and we made little changes that had massive results. So this is about having curated post-purchase emails as opposed to your standard text transactional emails. Try to put some energy into giving those emails a voice. Try to make that part of your experience. Does it actually match your brand values, or are we just sending out a robot email? That's not what's going to help people go, oh, you totally get me. The other side of things is that there's an opportunity in the automation space so if you purchase this, what else do people purchase in your competitive set? Like, what else are people looking at? It's a really great way to maintain a relationship. We've got some retailers that once somebody makes a purchase, they actually said, we don't know if people purchase, it's a seasonal purchase. What do we do? And I started looking at the data. We started looking into the data and understanding maybe why they were purchasing so far away. What other opportunities could we create that might, with this seasonal purchase or this date-driven purchase, what else do we have in our set that could be immersive in their entire life? But the most important thing that we noticed when looking at the data was that people actually came back and repurchased within about 2 hours of their first purchase. Oh, crap, I forgot something.
Wow, I'm so super surprised at that statistic, actually.
Yeah. Doesn't happen to everybody, but if you sell like smaller goods, it happens a lot. And it was really, really interesting. So what we did was we created a helpful space in the post-purchase emails to say, just in case you forgot anything, you can click here, come back and purchase, and we'll pop it all in with the same order, and you won't have to pay for another shipping cost. Oh,
very
thanks.
good.
You guys rock. You're my friends. I love you guys. And it completely changed the relationship with the customers. Create a reason for sharing on socials. I hear sometimes that it's really difficult to get a handwritten card in, or it's really difficult to do something, sometimes we're using drop ship and things like that. But if you can find a way to get into the experience when the package arrives at you, is it customized boxes? Is it take a photo of your purchase and share it on social, use this hashtag and go into the draw to win, blah. This is going to help to drive this. I'm proud of my purchase and I want to share that with my friends. And there's also a reward in it for me. Don't underestimate the power of competitions. We all want free stuff.
And don't underestimate the power of just asking either.
100%.
Ask for the feedback, ask for the share. You'll be surprised how many people.
Everybody loves giving their opinions.
Yeah.
Everybody. And, they love talking about their experience. So, yeah, you're right. Like, just ask for it. And, just post-purchase, ask for it in a card just to say, thanks, share it. We want to know what you're thinking. Did you love it? And third, post-purchases that our highest marketing return actually comes from brand advocates. So we can start to create advocates when we ask people to share on social and things like that, give them a nice reason to. But customers, I'm going to share with you what that can look like. But there's stuff that you can do, strategies that you can do post-purchase to help you to create brand advocates. How can we give you something of value to share this with your friends? We've seen a lot of retailers do collaborative vouchers. Do you want a voucher from The Iconic, or do you want a voucher from these places? And that's really great, but we're still sharing our revenue with external parties. How do we keep it? How do we build trust, build relationships, expand our networks, and keep all that value for ourselves and still collaborate so that we can still share the love? So we just need to find other ways to do that. Bottom line is there's a to 40% increase on spend with companies that engage with their customers online and create these advocates. How are you going to formulate your advocacy program? How are you going to manage it? If you are time poor, what are the solutions that we can approach? And this is where bots can come in and automation can really help. So you might have seen, if you've used PayPal recently, that they've started pushing receipts and things into Messenger. We've started to see a lot of brands start to push into Messenger as well and create a really helpful platform. And you can have human escalation in these particular bots. So what happens if the bot isn't programmed to answer this particular question? Who am I going to escalate this to so that they can feed that answer back into the Messenger platform? And those Messenger platforms from a bot perspective can be anywhere from your live chat to Facebook Messenger. It's a great place to engage with your customers. And then we're actually looking at developing some SMS chatbots, which is really fun. So imagine you go to your local store and Susan says, no, we do have that dress, but I don't have it in store now. Do you want me to let you know next time the run comes in? And Susan just marks in the CRM that Felicity wanted this particular dress, and as soon as that dress drops in, we start to send an SMS. Hey, did you want me to put this on hold for you? And Susan's having this conversation, but Susan's also helping 10 other people in the store. Susan's a bot.
So yeah, I guess it's a bit about efficiency as well. When you do have those bots that are identifying people's problems or queries straight up, they're much more efficiently and quickly able to direct the request to the person who it's relevant to, so the customer can be helped more efficiently.
Yeah, definitely. So we can also run bots in the survey space, on a space of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. How happy were you? Why weren't you happy? If you were happy, great. Would you mind sharing it with people? And we can use bots to actually run surveys for us as well. There's some really great free bots out there. HubSpot has a great one that's called GrowthBot. That one's not entirely free, but it's a pretty decent bot. They're putting a lot of money into this to help to develop it. Bottom line is, bots are kind of still in their infancy, but if you find that you're time poor in a particular customer service area, bots are a great way to help you to solve that problem. So messenger bots, survey bots, you can even put little straight through to messenger widgets on your website as well, so that you can create your customer service space within a native app that they use, as opposed to forcing them to use something that they might not feel comfortable with. Okay, talk about advocates. Bring a friend. You might have, along your journeys, seen Raving, Sunglass Hut. They do a really good job of this. So, and this is actually their most successful campaign of the year, and it costs them next to nothing. It's a plain text email with an attached PDF. All it says is, hey, and it happens just before Christmas. Hey, we're going to give you and your family and friends, this is a family and friends discount, and you will get 50% off any sunglasses that you buy leading up until Christmas. Oh, awesome. Thanks.
Such a good deal.
Yeah. And what they do is awesome deal. And what they do is actually start with the staff, and they turn their staff into advocates by, hey, don't feel afraid to share this, and tell your friends to keep sharing it on. But this is what we want to give you guys. We'd love you guys to have a nice reward over Christmas. So, and just making it really, really simple. Start with your advocates who are your best customers, and also your staff. Makes a really nice space, and especially when it comes from the managing director or the CEO, it feels even nicer. Like, that's a special gift. There is another way that we can do this outside of seasonal campaigns, which is at post-purchase. So I talked a little bit about these vouchers that we can put into our post-purchase. Did you want a discount from the Iconic, for example? But how do we actually keep that for ourselves? There's plenty of tools out there. So this tool is called Friend Buy, and earn $15 of credit. Earn 15% off for you and a friend. The next time you purchase, it gives you a unique link. It tracks that, and when your friend comes through your link, and the next time that you come, you've been cookied, boom, there's your $15 off, or your 15% off, and it really encourages people to share that, hey, I just bought this awesome blah blah from XYZ. You got to check it out, and here's $15 off. Oh, thanks. I'll check it out. I've needed one of those. So it starts to create this really nice environment, and we're rewarding people instantly. What do we know about millennials, or what do we know about people full stop? We love instant gratification. How do we do that? This is a really great place to start. All right. So now it's your turn. Ask yourself, with all this information that you've got today, do I think like a growth marketer? And if not, what techniques do you need to have in order to change? Do you understand your customers from their heartbeat, or do you just understand them from a demographic place? What do they want, and what do you sell? How can you help them to solve some of their biggest life challenges? How long is the longevity of that client with you? And do you have multiple personas as well? How do we develop strategies to stop talking to everybody but start talking to subsets?
And if you don't know your customers, how can you find out? Well, you can go and talk to them.
Ask them. Exactly. Just ask. Google Analytics gives you a whole bunch of cheat sheet kind of information to start to set some foundations, and then start to ask really great questions. You know, I think one of the most important questions is, are you happy to recommend us? Would you recommend us to a friend? If the answer is no, you've got a problem. And you probably want to talk to the people who say no. They're the ones that are going to give you your juiciest feedback. It might hurt your ego a little bit, but it could mean a lot of money in the bank.
You'd be so much better off in the long run.
Yeah, cry over it over a glass of wine or something, and then get over it and start looking at strategies and start ideating different strategies to overcome them. Create sustainable and scalable strategies. So try to avoid setting, we do need to have these key sales periods in our business if you're running seasonally. We need to definitely have weekly emails and things like that, which are really important. We need to have, social media posts, and we need to have engagement in all of these things. But what can we do to start to reduce our time marketing by having scalable and sustainable projects? How can you create a project that you know which components work to go wash, rinse, repeat? I know that worked. This is why it worked, and here's how we're going to do it again. Bottom line, test absolutely everything. Use data to focus on one metric at a time. Bottom line is, like I said, we want to focus on that revenue metric. Everything else that leads to that is important, but not as important as that revenue metric. We definitely want to track what our revenue and profit was off a particular campaign. Like I said, you can get a low click-through rate but a really high revenue rate, and you can start to use that as a ground to start building better campaigns. All right. I want to ask you guys out on a date. So I would like to invite you on this call. There is a complete limited amount of numbers on this, but this is what I'd like to offer you guys today. Is I'd want to invite you on a 15-minute growth marketing speed date. So what happens after this, bottom line is, if myself or my team, if we can show you a growth, some growth that we can get with you across 5 metrics in under 15 minutes, I'm pretty sure that we can help you over the long term. So bottom line is, if we do find that we can help you, if you do find that you've got these numbers and that we can give you a boost in about 15 minutes, then we're going to invite you to come and be part of a growth marketing study. We're going to audit and set a growth project strategy with you, and the value of that is $475. So, but you need to get in for this 15-minute speed date to see if you qualify for that one, because we need to know that we can help you. And if we can't, we're going to give you some pointers anyway so that you can come back and we can do this again. And, bottom line is you've got 15 minutes of your day. If we can't show you some growth in 15 minutes, then I don't know why I'm sitting here on this webinar.
What a great offer, Alita. That sounds really, really good. I'd love to get onto it myself.
Awesome. Well, you're welcome. So bottom line is you need to head to bit.ly/Neto_growth_hack.
There should also be a link popping up just in the chat box on your screen. So if you see that one, you can click through and that'll go through to the page as well. So you can register and nab yourself a speed date with the wonderful, amazing Alita.
Nice, stop it. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys come through. I think it's going to be really cool. And if it's a great experience for you, schedule up. I guess I just wanted to share with you a little bit of some of the results from some of our clients, just so that you guys know that we're not just working at the corporate end of town. We want to create sustainable and scalable campaigns for small to medium-sized businesses as well. This is really where we have the most fun, because it kind of gives us a bit of a blank canvas for creativity and growth. So, you can see that Discount Party Supplies was, really wonderful. I think the most important thing there is that you don't need a Fortune 500 budget to make the campaigns work. And like I said, what happens when we go into corporate? What happens if I take away all your budget today? We want to eliminate that freak out. So, and Sweet Elephants was wonderful. So after 1 month of guidance, they doubled their profit, and they had heaps of new subscribers on their list. We were only kind of touching the surface with them at that point, and Crystal beautifully sent through some targets to the team that she wanted to achieve in a year, in 6 months, and we just kind of smashed them out in about 30 days. Just look for those quick wins and applied growth marketing methodologies.
Fantastic. And that is just about it from us. I really hope that you've taken away some valuable things today, even if it's just one or two little things that you can do to become a growth marketer and to start really reaching those targets and smashing those goals. As I mentioned, this is the second in our series of webinars with Alita from Milk-It Academy. We do have another one that'll be coming up, so keep your eyes peeled for that. It'll be on social media marketing.
Yeah, social media growth marketing, which is going to be really fun. And this is actually a topic that you guys wanted to hear about. We ran a poll in the first webinar. So this is all growth marketing, understanding what you guys want and creating content for you guys.
Exactly. So thank you so much to everyone who attended today. We hope that you all have a fantastic rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you at the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.